What's up guys, Rogue9 here. A hot topic within the Rainbow Six Siege community over the last weeks and months has been sight misalignment, and true to form, the devs have kept their fingers on the pulse and they have rolled out a potential fix onto the test servers. Pogo and I have been busy little bees and fired test patterns for every full auto gun in both the live version of the game and the test server and compared those patterns. And in this video, I want to tackle this topic as a whole. First, I want to briefly describe the problem for those of you who are not familiar with sight misalignment, and then check if the new recoil fixes the issue. I also want to make sure that there are no side effects such as unwanted buffs or nerfs to the recoil patterns of individual guns or differences in terms of the visual movement of the sights. And I suppose I might as well tell you right now that there are definitely some side effects. Full detail on those towards the end of the video. As always, there will be timestamps in the comment section below since time is money, and with that, let's get right into the news. God, what has my life become? What is sight misalignment? Well, to demonstrate, here is the first gun I tested, the L85A2, and I will be firing the rifle in full auto at my favorite wall on the bank map. The first shot is of course spot on, but it is after this that the sight misalignment can kick in. As you can see here, when you're firing a gun in full auto in Rainbow Six Siege, there may be individual shots that don't land exactly where they're supposed to. Now, when you shoot any of the guns in real time, you may never even notice this issue, but the slow-mo makes it very clear. This problem has been in the game essentially since launch and is a byproduct of the recoil randomization. The movement of your targeting reticle and the actual impact pattern that your gun produces are similar, but not always perfectly synchronized. Ubisoft attempted to tackle this issue in September of 2017 by introducing a number of fixed recoil patterns on the test servers, but this idea was dropped after community pushback, mainly due to the wacky appearance of these patterns and concerns over recoil erasing macros. Now, 6 months later, we have attempt number 2, and according to the news released by Ubisoft, they have created a new system that eliminates the misalignment problem while keeping the recoil feeling the same for every gun. It's not quite clear at this stage what technical changes they have made to the recoil behind the scenes, and when I reached out to Ubisoft for comment, they let me know that they would prefer to keep the technical details under wraps for now until the solution is complete and they are ready to roll it out onto the live version of the game. And to be fair, such an important change needs to be communicated properly once it has been finalized, and I fully understand why they are reluctant to provide these details to some random fan like me while work is still in progress. One thing they did confirm to me though was something that was also mentioned in the news release, and that is that they have made a conscious effort to recreate the original recoil for each gun so that the feel of the game does not change once the misalignment fix goes live. So now over to my tests, and the first question to answer is, does the new recoil system as implemented on the test servers fix the sight misalignment problem when firing in full auto mode? Let's look at the new L85A2 recoil first, since this gun is notorious for misalignment problems. The first shot is of course accurate, but as you can see, the second shot is still slightly displaced. In case you can't see it, it's right there. The third shot is spot on again, but number 4 is again just slightly low. It's a lot better than it used to be, but it looks as if there are still a few kinks to be ironed out. Keep in mind that this is still a work in progress and only available on the test servers, and with that in mind, my conclusion here would be that the new recoil goes an awfully long way towards fixing the misalignment issue, but it's maybe not quite perfect yet. Reviewing the footage from other weapons confirms this conclusion. As it stands on the test servers right now, every bullet impact is incredibly close to the point of aim, but there are occasional minimal variations. If this went live right now, it could even be argued that the minor variations are not even a bad thing. In real life, even the most accurate guns may have minor deviations from the point of aim from shot to shot, and this is actually purposefully modeled into many first-person shooter games. Rainbow Six does not include this kind of realism, and I understand the argument that as a skill-based esport, it should always reward skill by being perfectly accurate at all times. My personal opinion is that these minor deviations we see on the test servers right now are acceptable and certainly a huge improvement over how the game has handled recoil up until now. I know that this is a separate discussion, but if you have any thoughts on the perfect accuracy debate in Siege, leave a comment below. I would love to see what everyone else thinks. Now over to the question of side effects. First up, is there a difference in the way that our sights will move when and if the update goes live? Of course, this question is most important for guns where the visual recoil is currently kept really bad on purpose as a balancing mechanic. Two great examples are Ella's Scorpion and the Korean SMG-12. For both of these guns, the visual recoil becomes extremely violent if you choose to fire longer bursts, but as you can see in the following clips, the visual recoil has been toned down significantly on the test servers, and it could be argued that this change would make these guns easier to use, giving them a bit of an unwanted buff. Is this a bad thing? Well, it makes Dokkaebi, Vigil, and especially Ella more effective at fragging, and that could cause a few balancing issues that would need to be addressed. So this is definitely a delicate issue that needs to be taken into consideration before implementing the update on the live version of the game. But I guess the good news is that it only really affects a few guns that are currently made less controllable via the visual recoil on purpose. And with that, onto the final part of the video, comparing the recoil patterns on the live servers versus the test servers for every full auto gun in the game. As mentioned earlier, the objective is to model the new recoil patterns on the existing ones as closely as possible to maintain the feel of the game, but at this stage, I think there is still some work to be done to achieve this goal. I tested a total of 43 guns. I hope that's all of the full auto guns and that I didn't miss any. I don't think I did. Out of those 43 guns, there are 14 where I would say that the recoil patterns from the live and test servers are very close and they wouldn't feel any different. But that leaves 29 weapons where the current and proposed recoil patterns can feel quite different. As at the current stage in the development of this update, 4 weapons would be receiving a controllability nerf: the V308, the SMG-12, the T95, and oh my god, what is that? Why is it always poor old Capitao that gets screwed over like this? Hasn't he suffered enough? If this goes live, Capitao mains, I feel for you. All 17 of you. But I guess it's good news, everyone, for all of us potatoes out there, and I definitely count myself in this group as well. With the way that the new recoil works on the test servers right now, there will be 25 guns that will become easier to control. Would this be a good, bad, or neutral change? I guess that's up for debate. I wouldn't mind it personally, but there is of course the risk of lowering the skill ceiling, and I think that most players will agree that one of the things that makes Rainbow Six special and has played a huge role in the longevity of the game is the fact that you can play for hundreds of hours and you never really stop improving, and that's all down to having a high skill ceiling. Again, your thoughts are more than welcomed in the comments section below. Do you think that making recoil a little bit easier to control for 25 guns is a good thing or bad thing? Let me know. And okay, fair enough, as you can see from the images in the background, the recoil upgrades for some of the guns are relatively minor, and there are only a few where recoil management will become significantly easier. In conclusion, the new recoil mechanic does an amazing job at tackling the misalignment issue, even if it's not quite perfect yet. At least it's 99% there, and I think that most players will welcome this change. The goal of keeping the look and feel of each gun the same as it is in the game right now has been achieved with about a third of the fully automatic weapons I tested, and there is still some work to be done to make sure that the remaining guns don't receive any accidental nerfs or buffs once the fix goes live. Of course, combining easier to control recoil patterns with the reduced sight movement on guns like the Scorpion and SMG-12 would definitely have an impact on the game, and rebuffing Ella's SMG may be something that should be avoided. But whether or not there are minor changes to the recoil that we may need to get used to again, I think the most important fact is that the recoil misalignment issue is getting fixed, and that's a good thing. If you found this video interesting and or useful, do go ahead and give that like button a click, otherwise dislike. And that's it. Thank you for watching. As always, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you in the next episode.